Welcome to the newest episode of Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. I'm your host, Jason Fraley, picking the brains of the top filmmakers, musicians, and artists of our time. Country band Lonestar comes to Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia on April 15th. I spoke to founding keyboardist Dean Sams about the band's 10 number one hits, including Amazed, I'm Already There, What About Now, and Mr. Mom. Hey, Dean, thanks so much for joining us on WTOP.
Of course. Good morning to you.
We're here because we're talking about the great country band Lonestar is coming to the Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races in West Virginia on Friday, April 15th. Now, you guys have had so many hits over the years, and I know you have a record coming out that's called 10 to 1, which is sort of looking at those hits. Is that what it is?
It really is. It's thanks to y'all playing all our music over the years, and of course the fans requesting it. We've been lucky enough to have 10 number one songs. And so what we've done is we've had a greatest hits record before, but we've never had all 10 of our number one songs in one place. And then to take it even a step further, we went back in and we re-recorded those hits and kind of put a fresh spin on those hits. And, over the years, we've changed the arrangements a little bit, and we feel like we are playing better and singing better than we ever have. And so the fans are going to get a chance to hear that with this 10 to 1 record.
Awesome. And I would love to talk about some of those number ones with you, but first, chronologically speaking, remind me how the band got together. Where did you yourself grow up, and how did you meet the guys?
Well, I'm from Garland, Texas, suburb of Dallas. And I had moved to Nashville to be a solo artist. And it didn't take me very long to figure out, after going around and hearing a bunch of people sing and do their thing there, that I'm not nearly good enough to make it. But being the guy that I am, I figured I've got another way I can do it. I'll just put together a band. I've been the leader of every band that I've ever been in. I'll find great singers and other great players, and I'll put a band together. And Lonestar is the direct result. It's the band that I put together.
I love it. I love it. And remind us who was the lineup at the beginning there, because I know there's been some different, shuffling in and out. I know John Rich was in it before he left and did Big and Rich.
Yeah.
I know it's been a sort of I don't want to say a rotating bunch. There's a lot of the same guys in there, but remind us, at the start, who was it at the start?
Well, basically, when I first put the band together, it was myself. The first person I got was Richie McDonald. And I had met him actually at an audition for Opryland, which used to be a theme park in Nashville that had rides and shows and stuff. And they had open call auditions at the University of Texas, Arlington. And I heard him sing and thought because you could sit out in the audience and watch other people audition. I heard him sing, and I happened to run into him in the restroom. I said, "Hey man, I heard your audition. I'm Dean." He goes, "I'm Richie." I said, "Well, nice to meet you. Good luck." Well, as it turned out, I made it. He didn't. So that's what made me move to Nashville. And while I was working at Opryland, I would go watch what is called the Blue Cast. I was in what is called the Red Cast. Red Cast is kind of a year-round cast. Blue Cast is just summer. And there was this young kid singing all this Vince Gill stuff and whatever. And then I saw him play bass guitar in a talent contest. And I was like, man, when I put a band together, if I have this guy singing and I can get this young kid playing bass and singing the high harmony, I'll play piano and sing the low harmony, I'll have a band. And so that young kid singing that high stuff, playing bass, was John Rich, who went on to be in Big and Rich. And John was with us through our first 2 albums. We were together 2.5 years before we got a record deal. And then, of course, John stayed with us through the Crazy Night CD. And then I also had, we had 3 other drummers before we finally landed on Keach Rainwater. And Keach came in right before we got a record deal. So he missed out on all the 2-door Jeep Cherokee pulling the U-Haul days. He didn't have to do any of that stuff with us. And he came in basically right at the record deal. And then the other piece of the puzzle was our great guitar player, Michael Britt. And he's been with us, ever since I put the band together. And I actually grabbed him from a Pizza Hut. he was delivering pizzas for Pizza Hut when I grabbed him. So that was the lineup.
I'm surprised you didn't grab him from Lonestar restaurant. Pizza Hut surprised me.
Well, he was, that's where he was working, and he was just waiting on, I guess, me to come pull him out of that place.
All right. Well, from one deep dish to let's dish deep on some of these. That's the best segue I got, man.
That was good, man.
Personal pan interview here. All right. So take me. Thanks for the courtesy laugh. That was not good. But let's go into the it's called 10 to 1. So let's go into, we don't have time to do all 10 obviously, so I'll just sort of pick and choose some of the ones I mean, man, I grew up on this stuff. But tell me about the first number one was No News. Tell me it.
No News.
Tell me about how it was such a cool take on your lover leaving you, and have you heard anything? No news.
Yeah, it's, what's cool about it is it's kind of a sad song in the sense that, the guy gets left by his girl, and, and he doesn't know why, but, he's kind of sitting around kind of thinking she's coming back. I mean, I hadn't heard anything yet, but I'm sure some different things happened. Like she got derailed, got DIs, offered as, he's coming up with all these scenarios that couldn't be further from happening to this girl. For the reasons why she hasn't come back. And so, yeah, it's a really cool, fun, up tempo take on the guy being left. And it was our very first number one. It actually spent 3 weeks at number one. And, and it's probably one of my most embarrassing videos that we've ever done. When I go back and look at that one, I just immediately have to shut it off.
Why? Like just the haircuts or clothes style back then, or what is it?
No, back then we wore cowboy hats and stuff, and I was just being energetic and being me, but the director never told me that I looked like an idiot because I bounced my head up and down the entire time. So every time the camera comes in on me, I'm bouncing my head with this big cowboy hat on, and I just look stupid. I just look stupid.
Hey man, it launched many number ones, so it was worth it. All right, moving ahead. I mean, dude, as you know, there's so many I could do, but tell me about Amazed. I mean, if there is one song that might ever be considered your guys' career song, I mean, I think it might be that. I mean, that's you'll still hear that at people slow dancing to that at weddings, etc. But tell me about why you think that one works so well.
Well, I think, first of all, just love in general is the universal thing that we're all looking for. I don't care what country you're in. I don't care where you are, in life. I mean, you can even be a little kid. You're wanting acceptance from, the little boy that's writing notes to the little girl, check yes or no, like George Strait had a song about. We're all looking for love. We're all looking for acceptance. And I think Amazed, it says it so well. It's like, how somebody feels when they're truly in love with somebody else. And you either feel that way about somebody, or somebody feels that way about you, or you want somebody to feel that way about you. And so it's just such a universal song. It says it so well, has great melody. Great harmony, and the lyric is just spot on. I think that's why it did what it did.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was the song of yours that when CMT did that big, top 100 country songs of all time. I think Amazed was on there. So that's an all timer. All right, moving ahead. I'm just cherry picking here. And What About Now? That's just an upbeat, fun, ode to just being a little spontaneous, I guess. What about now? How about tonight?
It is. And you know what? Lyrically, once again, the writers, nobody in the band wrote it. It was, outside writers. Aaron Barker was one of the great writers on that song. And he'd written 10 number ones for George Strait, and just amazing writer. And I mean, if you think about lyrically, coming up with a cool way to say something, I mean, the sign in the window said for sell or trade on the last remaining dinosaur Detroit made. $700 was a heck of a deal for a 400 horsepower jukebox on wheels. I mean, lyrically, it's just so good. And then you get to the chorus, the guy talking to the girl, or it could be the girl talking to the guy. What about now? How about tonight? Let's just go. Let's just, and once again, it's that it's song about being spontaneous. It's about being with the one that you care about, and just, living life and having fun, and let's do it right now. So I think that's and once again, I love that it's up tempo like No News was. A lot of people remember us for the ballads because they were so big. Amaze was a 9-week number one on the country chart, even crossed over the pop chart, spent 2 weeks at number one. I'm Already There, 6-week number one, and made it to number two on the pop chart. So those are so big. But I mean, what about now? No News, Front Porch Looking In, Mr. Mom. We had a lot of up tempo hits that people just forget about because the ballads were so big.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you got time to talk about a couple more, I would love to. Tell me about I'm Already There. I mean, that came out pre 9/11, but after 9/11, it just took on a whole new meaning, right?
It really did. I mean, the song was written about from the perspective of us, being gone on the road a lot. And, we missed, touring, we missed out on a lot of birthdays and first days of school, and, just, being able to be there with our families all the time because, we're out on the road trying to make a living and performing all around the world. And that's really the perspective that the song was written from. But at the end of the day, 9/11, obviously we didn't know what was coming, but 9/11 happened right about the time that song was getting its legs. And it really took on a whole new meaning with the military in particular. I know Diane Sawyer, she touted that I'm Already There as the unofficial anthem for the military and their families. And it really did. It took on a whole new meaning. And, after 9/11, so many people wrote in and said how this song, kept them connected with their loved one that was, in the military overseas fighting for us. And I mean, then later on, it took on another meaning, like people, that lost a loved one, and they're still feeling connected to them through that song. And I'll tell you the craziest story about that song is, and I have the plaque hanging on my wall at my house. There was an astronaut that loved I'm Already There, and his family loved that song. And it was literally their song. And he went into space and he took our record, our CD, I'm Already There, up in space with him. And while he's in space, he took the CD out and he let go of it. And of course, it's no gravity. So it starts spinning around, and there's the window, and you can see the earth off in the background. Wow. And it spun around perfectly where you could see the full front of the CD. And he took a picture of it, and you could see the earth in the background. And he had that CD framed for us and said, from my family to yours. And it's from this astronaut. And talk about a song that connected him with his family and gave us the ultimate gift by giving us that CD and having it framed and stuff in honor of us for the song.
Wow. Talk about a global, universal hit. I mean, you're outside the earth looking down. Holy.
Talk about an out of this world hit.
Out of this world hit. Yeah, exactly. But it's so true, man. I get goosebumps. Of course, the military 9/11 thing, but then, but you're right. Anyone who's lost a loved one, that those lines of, just take a look around, and the sunshine in your hair, and the shadow on the ground, whisper in the wind. I mean, that'll give you goosebumps. Our loved ones are around us at all times.
Absolutely. And it's so we've been so blessed with having so many different songs that touch people and hit people for different reasons at different times. We've had quite a few of those, and we've never taken that for granted. I mean, the fact that fans still show up to the shows every day, that we have shows, and they're singing the words, and they're standing, they're energetic, they're excited to see us. I mean, we're 30 years into this deal, and so it's pretty exciting.
It is. It really is. Do we have time for any more?
I'm gonna take as much time as you want.
Oh, cool. Thank you so much. I wasn't sure.
I'm all good.
Okay, cool. Tell me about my front porch looking in. That is one of those good reminders that, sometimes we're always looking outward, trying to see what else, what do we got to do on our busy days? But sometimes you got to do is just turn around and the view we like the most is what we already have, right?
Yeah, I think that is really the point of the song. I mean, so many times we're always, and you know what? Us as a band, well, I'll just talk for myself. I mean, I was guilty of, you know, uh, you once you get on that ride of, having hits and success and you doing these shows and everything's going so good. I mean, you start going, okay, that's cool, but what's next? What's next? What's next? And instead of just stopping and turn around and looking at what's really important, what you have in your hands, and what is and should be most important, and that's the people that you hold dear to you, the closest to you, and that's your family, and that's really what Front Porch Looking In is. And it's not saying you can't look forward and try to better yourself and find out other things in the future, but make sure you're always keeping the eye on the prize, which is your family that's closest to you. And that's really what that song's about. And it's done in a lyric way that was unique. It's also up tempo. It makes you feel good. And so once again, one of those has a great message with an up tempo feel to it, which, the fans really have latched on with us.
Oh, absolutely. And in terms of, I guess your last one that went number one, I guess was Mr. Mom. You mentioned it earlier, but tell me about why. I get a smile just thinking of that song. I mean, just the line of Pampers melt into Maytag dryer crayons go up one drawer higher and rewind Barney for the 15th time or whatever. Talk about how it is a song that is a salute to all the moms, well, and the Mr. Moms out there. But basically it's a song of a guy that realizes, holy crap, it's hard being a stay-at-home parent.
Well, at the end of the day, I mean, I'll tell you, me as a dad, when my kids were little, I cherished. I was a hands-on, really good dad. I mean, I could change diapers, I could cook for the kids. I'm a neat freak anyway, so I clean and stuff. But I don't think that's the norm. I think a lot of guys, if they let their significant others take care of the kids, they think it's an easy job. But the reality of it is, I mean, whoever's taking care of the kids, I don't care whether it's the guy or the girl. It's a hard gig, and there's a lot to it. And I don't think you realize it until you're in charge of it 24/7. And so this was the ultimate, from our perspective, this was the ultimate praise to the moms out there for the hard work that they do. And it was an ultimate kick in the butt to guys like, I'm stupid. I thought that was easy, and it's not. And so, honey, I'm sorry for any time that I acted like that was you didn't have it hard when I'm off going to work, because you probably have it, or not. You definitely have it way harder than I do. And so thanks, thanks for all that you do. So really, that's what that song was.
Oh, for sure. I got to tell you, it is my grandma's favorite song. All right. Well, I mean, there's 10 of these number ones. We don't have time to go through all of them. But, as a hardcore Lonestar fan, I got to say, that is just scratching the surface. I mean, I invite our listeners to go back and check out even all the ones that didn't go to number one. I mean, like, Not a Day Goes By is just such a great song. Or Let's Be Us Again. Just there's so many great songs. Do you have a favorite of the songs that maybe didn't go to number one?
Golly, there's a lot. Like, I love Walking in Memphis. We re-recorded the Mark Combs hit Walking in Memphis, and there's if you got a second, and I think it's an interesting story of how we even came to record that song.
Tell me all about that, because we had Mark Cohn was on our station on this same podcast like a month or two ago. So I would love to hear this story.
You got it. He's awesome, by the way. But so Walking in Memphis obviously is a great song. But us as a band, me and the guys at Lonestar, we got tied in very quickly once we started having some success with St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. And we would do benefits a lot for them. We even had our own benefit that we would do every year during Fanfare or CMA Fest in Nashville. We did it for 7 years, a bowling event, and we had, gosh, everybody from Carrie Underwood to Tracy Lawrence to Montgomery Gentry. I mean, some of the great, stars that we've had over the years would come be part of our event, and we'd raise, every year hundreds of thousands of dollars for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. So it's something that's always been very important to us, and the great work that they do there. And we were actually at St. Jude. We had done a hospital visit and visited a bunch of the kids, and then we were going to do a little acoustic show. And so we're in this room at the hospital where we're setting up and we're doing sound check. And since, we're in Memphis, just kind of started playing that song. And then next thing you know, Keach starts playing along with the drums. Michael starts playing along with his guitar. And next thing you know, we're just during sound check, just kind of doing that song, unrehearsed, just doing it because it's just sound check. It doesn't matter. And the head of promotion for our record label, Tom Baldrica, he heard it and was like, God, y'all should record that. That sounds so good. And, we just kind of laughed and said, we're just, messing around. Next thing you know, the head of our label tells us, man, I want y'all to record Walking to Memphis. I heard it's like really something, and we think that would be great. So we ended up doing it and put it out as a single, and it was a top 10 record for us.
You're right. And I remember that version too. And hearing your all's take on it, I thought it was one of those that was, I dare say, rivaled the original. I know that's sort of blasphemy, but I love it, especially around that time. I loved when you all did Walking in Memphis. Tim McGraw did a Tiny Dancer version. I mean, I liked when you all took on those classics. Well, very, very cool. Very cool. I mean, there's so many we could talk about, but I think we covered a bunch. We
really did.
You've been generous with your time, but anything we want to say, just to get our listeners to come on out to Hollywood Casino and check you guys out here on the April 15th.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, even if you've seen a Lonestar show before, this is by far, and it's going to sound like I'm just pitching, but what I'm saying is 100% true. This is by far the best show that we've ever taken out on tour. We have some great production elements, but the production elements without the songs are just production elements. But we've put all 10 of our number one songs are in this show. We've never done that before. So it's literally hit after hit after hit. We have a lot of moments that, the fans they'll be doing it naturally, but we want them to sing along with us. And then we have a couple little surprises. One happens about halfway through the show, and then another one happens at the end of the show that I'm telling you, nobody expects from us. Their jaws drop and they're standing on their feet. And it's just been an unbelievable tour this year. So we can't wait for them to come out, see this show. This is the one show that they need to come see this year. They need to come see Lonestar on the 15th of April at Hollywood Casino.
Yes, again, as he said, 15th of April at Hollywood Casino in Charlestown, West Virginia. Get your tickets now. Lonestar, love it. One of the great all-time country groups, if you ask me. So thanks so much for taking the time for us today.
Hey, I really appreciate your time.
All right, we'll talk to you soon.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much for the interview.
All right, see ya.
All right, be well.
Thanks so much for joining us on Beyond the Fame with Jason Fraley. Remember to hit the subscribe button and give us a 5-star rating if you like what you hear. We'll see you next time. I wanted to take a second to tell you about an app I really enjoy. Living in the DC area is great, and Podcast DC gathers all of the local shows that I like all in one local app. Health, sports, local news, politics, and so much more. Podcast DC is the new local app with hundreds of DC area podcasts to choose from. I can earn exciting rewards just for listening and share the podcasts I love instantly. Available in the App Store or in Google Play, listen local with Podcast DC.